Here we go. Welcome to our TTMAC sale information webinar. Your hosts today, I'm Nisa.
I'm Val.
And we are on the sales team. Val is our coordinator, the master of it all. Why does any of this matter? Why are we doing this? The primary thing for me is keeping the sale a good one. And when we all work together to make it a good one, then it is good. We get rave reviews on Facebook, on Instagram, with all the people coming to the sale, and they come back and they tell all their friends. And that's what keeps the attendance up. So if they come and they go, wow, that was badly organized, or wow, all this stuff was crap, then we get a bad reputation, people stop coming, and there's no point doing the sale anymore. Anything to add to that?
The other side of that is, as sellers, we want to come in, do our volunteer shift, sell as many items as we can, and go home feeling good about it. So we'd like to have our setup on Friday go smoothly and quickly and efficient team, and keep everything going so that it gets done quickly and we can all go home.
Yeah. So the volunteer shifts. When you sign up for the sale, you have to sign up for a volunteer shift. So the Fridays tend to go first, right?
Yeah, they're always done first.
So if you want Friday, you need to register for the sale at the beginning. And if you don't sign up for a volunteer shift, you may be locked out of entering your items until you do, and then you have to contact Val to
get unlocked.
To get unlocked. And if you change your volunteer shift, then Val may lock you out again.
You can change it, but if you delete your volunteer shift, and then you show up as not having chosen one. And also, the longer you wait, the less selection you'll have to choose the shift that you want on the day that you want.
Right. And if you don't show up for your volunteer shift, you pay 45% commission. So keep that in mind, because that's a big chunk of change for you. Arrange childcare. So no one under 14 can come with you to your volunteer shift. So make sure you know that in advance. So when you're selecting your shift, that you're picking one that you know you can get to. Or a parent, grandparent, or spouse could do your shift for you, but not a sibling and not a kid.
Let us know ahead of time so we can have a name tag and we're aware that the person is not a TTMAC member.
Right. So, and I think we can go in. Sorry, this is our first time doing a webinar, so give us a little bit of a break when we're here. Going to my account. Which one is it?
The last one.
This one?
No, other way, right here.
No, that's for Staples.
Oh.
Sorry. We're going to have to edit. Here we go. I'm going to register for the sale because I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to say, how did you hear about me? I am a TTMAC member. Click. Register me. Says I wait. Now read all of this information. So scroll down, say I accept, and if you screw up later, you've said that you accepted it. So here's all my information. I'm going to click update.
And make sure your address is up to date because that's where your check will get mailed to.
And now when I click on volunteer, I get to select a spot.
So you can take a look on the right at the description of the volunteer selection. Some will say it's for the board members. Some will say sales team. Some will say you're not volunteering, which is fine if you don't want to. And others will say Saturday or Friday, or warriors will be either one full day, or weekend warrior will be both Friday and Saturday. So just be aware of the hours that you're signing up for.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually not volunteering, so I'm going to sign up for not volunteering.
Okay.
This is my volunteer shift. Okay, and then, is that all I need to do here? Oh.
Yeah, and then at the top left, add me to selected shifts.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad we're doing this. Add me to selected shifts. Okay, and then you can click here to view it. In theory, you can. Okay, now let's go back to our PowerPoint. We'll come back to My Consignment. So, next we're going to get our stuff ready to sell. we've signed up, we've got our shift. We're going to figure out what we're selling. We want to sell quality items. So free of stains, whole, significant wear. Again, it's one of those things where when people come to shop, we don't want them going, wow, everything there was crappy and dirty. So make sure you've taken the time to go through it and make sure that you're selling your good items. If you wouldn't buy it, don't try and put it in a sale. Even if you wouldn't buy it for $1. So items that are professionally patched, along with lightly frayed jeans and snowpant cuffs will be considered, but excess wear is not. And we do have volunteers that go through and check everything before it goes out on the tables. So make sure that it's good to sell before you put it in. So getting your items ready, again, quality items, would you buy it? If you have something that has a really, really minor stain, you can put it in the sale at a bargain price, but write stained on it on the tag or it's going to get rejected. Refer to the guidelines on what can be sold in each sale. Like stuffies are a good example, I think, of we can sell Paw Patrol stuffies, but we can't sell a generic teddy bear. And just keep in mind, some things like bike helmets, we're not allowed to sell in the sale. So I'm going to make this bigger for everybody. We're not allowed to sell them in the sale due to guidelines, like governmental guidelines. So make sure you've gone through the guidelines and that you're not spending your time tagging and printing something that is going to get rejected when you get there. Anything to add to that?
There's a list on the TTMAC
Yeah.
website of things that are acceptable.
In the guidelines. Does it work? So if it needs batteries, make sure that the batteries are operational. I know I have stuff I haven't sold because I'm too cheap to put in 4D batteries in it.
But if there's no batteries in it, it will get rejected.
Right. So it has to have, if it works or if it requires batteries, it has to have batteries in it.
Unless it's brand new in the original package.
Right.
It has never been opened.
Right. And then make sure all the parts are there. One of our number one complaints is, especially with toys, is that I bought this puzzle and look at all the puzzle pieces that aren't in the puzzle. So especially with puzzles, put the puzzle together. Make sure it's all there.
And you don't even have to put it together. You can just count the number of pieces. And if they match what it says on the box, you're probably good to go.
Yeah.
Then you won't be missing any.
I don't trust my kids to put all the right puzzle pieces together in
if
the right box.
If you think it'll work.
So, pricing your items. Prices are in 50-cent increments. So you can't put something in for a quarter. It has to be 50 cents to $1, $1.50, $2, etc. And then some ways to sort and tag. We both do it a little bit differently, but fairly similar, where we gather our items. Do you want to do how you do it? And then I can...
So what I do is I get several laundry baskets, put them out on my bed, and then I just get a bit of tape and write the size of the items. So I'll have a basket for size 4, one for size 5, one for size 6, and then I'll grab the clothes and I'll put them in the basket according to size. And then I'll take that size, look at each item, make sure it's good enough to sell, and I'll sort them into 2 groups, bottoms, pants, shorts, skirts, and another group of tops. And then I'll just put them back in the basket with all the pants at the bottom and all the shirts on top, all the same size and gender. And I'll do that for each size that I have. And then when it's time to create the tags, I'll go on my computer and I'll take the top item, enter it into my consignment, and then just go through each item doing that. And then I'll create a PDF for size 5 girls, and I'll call it size 5 girls. And that way, when you print them, if Staples prints them as separate documents, you'll look at it and see all girl stuff and know
Right.
that their size 5 goes with your basket. It's just a little bit of a way of not having a big pile of clothes in a bunch of different
Right.
sizes and having to sort through them again to find the right item for the right tag.
Yeah. And I'm maybe not quite that organized, but I still do, like, here's my pile. I sort it by tops and bottoms, by size, and then I enter it, and then I kind of know that pile relates to these numbers of items.
Yeah, because each tag that you create will have an item number on it, and that will correspond to the item. So you can kind of keep them in order when they get printed 8 to a page. They will be in order.
Yeah, we'll go through that. So check for stains and holes. Again, one of our number one challenges. The next slide here, watch your lighting, because it's all relative. So where'd my samples go? Excuse me while I go get my sample photos. Here they are. Because it's really easy when you're going through it and you're just like, oh yeah, this is okay, this is all right. Well, if you're not really looking, like here's a good shirt of like, oh yeah, this is okay. And then somebody is checking at the Genesis Center and they're like, oh, look at that stain. And maybe that one, no, not even that one, but the back also has an even bigger stain on it. So look at the front and the back. Check the knees,
the cuffs,
around
the wrists.
How are the cuffs? Are they all frayed? The like these pants have a great big hole in them, so there's no point. Admittedly, I pulled all these out of my reject pile already. These pants are also a good example where like the dogs have all faded in the knees. So like they're not awful, but I don't know that anyone wants to buy them, right? So I'm willing to donate them for charitable purposes for the weight of the clothing. But go through it. And when we say watch the lighting, the Genesis Center is bright. So if you're doing this at home, especially, you're doing it in your basement at 9 p.m. with a little light on, your home lighting, you're not going to see the stains in the same way that they are going to appear at the Genesis Center under those huge fluorescent lights. So try and get near windows, I think. Try and get as bright as you can, especially with like the baby clothes, like the poo stains that
spit up on the
onesies. Like really pay attention. Again, it goes back to the quality of the sale, because nobody wants to go through a whole bunch of piled stuff. And like if you've arrived at the sale and the first few things that you look at are stained and dirty, you're just gonna leave. At least I'm just gonna leave. So really pay attention when you're going through your stuff. And I tend to do it twice. Like I'll do it when I'm entering my items, and then when I'm tagging my items, again, I'll look for stains and clothes, or stains and holes. So how to enter your items. So if you've sorted it by categories, pricing, and then description. So let's go back to My Consignment Manager here. So we're going to say I'm going to enter an item.
So first, if you are a returning seller, so if you've participated in a previous sale,
should we do that first?
We should transfer our items first. That way you'll know, because you're only allowed to enter 1,000 items. I know that sounds like a lot, but some people surpass that quite easily. So to transfer items, you went to manage inventory?
I went to manage inventory. That's where I am now.
And then item transfer.
Item transfer.
And then you're going from the fall sale, even though it says closed, but that's the last, if that's the last sale, your last sale was the spring.
My last sale was the spring of 2019. So for me, it's going to be spring 2019. But for most of you, it will be fall of 2019.
And also, keep in mind that My Consignment will hold your items for 18 months. As long as you keep transferring them, it'll stay in there for years, but you have to transfer them at least once every 18 months.
So the easiest way to do this is probably to show 216 items, because I have a lot of items in here, right?
Yeah, so you're transferring from?
I'm transferring from the 2019 sale to the 2020 sale. You can only transfer 216 items, so I've selected, or I've shown 216 items. If I click here, then I'll click on all.
So if there's any items that you don't want to transfer, say for the spring sale you had a snowsuit that didn't sell, or winter boots that you can't sell in the spring sale, you can just uncheck the check mark on that item. Or Well, your sold items.
I know we should. Sorry.
Yeah.
We should also go to the not sold.
Just hit refresh. Under the all.
Refresh.
Yeah. Refresh.
There. Because we only want to transfer the items that were not sold. Which actually now is only 179. But even then, like we can go through, you could go through here, like in here, I had made bike helmets because I didn't realize I couldn't sell them. So like that would be something that I wouldn't need to transfer. So you could go through, and I had made some generic tags, which we'll talk about in a bit. So you could go through and just transfer the things that you know you're going to have in the net sale, or
so you can
or
just
transfer them all and then delete them later.
Yeah, you can just click on all and then transfer items now, and
Up
that
here,
would transfer them
items.
all. So now when you go look at, press OK. So now you've got a clean slate. It says
Right.
items 0 of 0 entries.
Okay.
So now you can go up to enter items and you can start entering each item.
Okay. So, say I have my stack of 10 t-shirts and I want to sell them all for $2. So, if they're all the same, I'm going to say $2. Over here, they are tops. If you have a set, I think one of the common questions we get is what to do with the sets. So you can just put them in any type of shirt or sweater, put them in with the tops. When they get to the sale, they are put in with tops.
Yeah, and if you do have a set, make sure they're attached to each other.
Yes.
A top and a bottom, attach them to one another, and then attach the tag to the top. And in the description that you create here, say that it's 2 pieces. So when they get to the cashier knows that there's 2 pieces that belong together.
So you can put in as much description
As you can fit.
or you could be a little generic. The more descriptive you are, the easier it is if the tag gets separated from the item, then we might be able to match it back up at the sale. So if, I have a tag, a stray tag that says Joe Fresh, it's 2 pieces, it's pink polka dots, and oh look, here is an item without a tag, it's also Joe Fresh, it's also size 2, it's also pink polka dots, we'll take the time and put those back together again and put it back out for sale. But if it just says size 2 for $2, we have no idea out of all the other lost tag items that are size 2 who it belongs to. So we can't match it up again.
And then we can't sell it. If it doesn't have a tag, we can't sell it.
Right. So give it as much description as you can or want to, because we can make this tag here. So now you can see my tag. If I've decided to edit it, I can click on it. I can edit the item, and oh no, I've decided that that's worth $3. So I can update that. If you want to do something a little bit more, like here's my stack of t-shirts, they're all size 2. I really don't care if it gets lost. I just want to get my tagging done. And I have 20 of these shirts. We all have 20. We could have 20 of them. We could do this, say power tagger, I want to create 10 or 20 items and hit add items. Right?
Yeah.
Not ideal, because now we don't have any description. We won't be able to match it up, but it's going to get your tagging done faster. Right?
Yep.
So, and then if you're running out of time and you're like, I just need to get my tags generated, or if you're also like me, who tends to be on the last week, you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to put that in the sale, but I didn't make it a tag. The other thing you can do is make a few, say, I often find this with toys, so I tend to do it with like the $5 to $10 items, where I'm going to say, I'm just going to not put a description on, and I'm not going to put a size, and I'm going to make 3 $5 tags.
And you can, once you've printed the tags, you can always hand write a description. You just cannot change the price by hand. The price has to be in the computer system.
Right.
Otherwise it won't scan properly. But if you just want to add, toy car, blue toy car, once you've found a toy that would match your generic tag, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see where we're at over here. So we covered those, right? Categories. One thing to keep in mind, I find sometimes people get stuck on the categories of like, oh, I have a sleep sack and I don't really know what category it is, or I've got this piece of baby equipment and I don't know where to throw it into a category. The categories aren't the critical piece of information.
Yeah.
Right? Because we'll put it in the description, but don't stress about like, oh my God, I just put in all my pajamas as books.
Well, I think that far off.
Okay, if they're that far off, go back. If you haven't generated your tags, go back in.
But if it's like a sleeper and you don't know if it's a newborn or a baby need or whatever.
When they're sorting them at the sale, or if you say you had boy-girl twins and you were doing pajamas and you forgot to change your girl pajamas to boy pajamas, at the sale, if they're pink, they're going to go put them on the girl table.
Right, but however, be cautious that if the tag doesn't match the item,
right?
Like we've had cases where we've had a pair of shoes that the item description was a dress and it was like $2, but it was like really expensive shoes. So we kind of said, well, those shoes wouldn't sell for $2 and it says it's a dress, so we took it out of the sale to be fair to the seller.
Yeah.
So when the tags get put on the wrong items, it can create a lot of confusion. So while it's not, crucial that you have the right category, it should match somewhat enough so we don't think someone switched the tags on it in order to pay a cheaper price.
Right. Yes, good point. Okay, so we've covered this. You can create generic tags. You can handwrite the description. Okay, and you cannot change or add a price by hand.
No.
Cannot. And if there's any confusion on the scanning of it with the cashiers, they do not have the ability to go in and change anything. We can't read your mind. We don't know how you want it. If it doesn't come up properly, it's not going to get sold. So then how to generate your tags. So the deadline is April 20th at 8 a.m. So let's go back in here to My Consignment Manager. So here we are. Here are my items. So if I select them all,
go up to the top.
I haven't done this in a while, obviously. Print tags.
Print tags.
We're going to click on print tags. So you have to generate your tags in order to print them, and then you have to generate them to get them into the main inventory that is required for the sale. So if you don't generate your tags, A, you can't print them, and B, they're not going to be in the sale, and then everything's going to be a gong show, and
it won't work.
It won't work.
So if you look at the tag status, which is the last column
over here
on the right, and you'll see it says not generated. So if you click in the box, okay, if you want to click them all, so they print in pages of 8 tags per page. So you can work in multiples of 8, or if you have the one extra, you're kind of wasting a whole sheet of paper, so try to do it in groups of 8. So if you click them all and then you hit
generate tags up here.
Yeah, generate tags. And you have 24. Do you want to continue? You say yes.
Yes.
And then it'll come up. And you do have to have Adobe on your computer. And if you don't, you can download it for free from the internet. So this is what your sheet will look like and it has to look like this. It can't be looking any other way. And don't try to minimize the size of the tag. You can't fit more than 8, and it should take up a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet.
Yep.
So you can save this PDF now. Call it whatever you like, boys, girls, whatever.
So if you're really organized like Val and you've got it, this is this bin, maybe it's bin 1, maybe it's your size 4 bins, maybe it's whatever, or maybe it's the pile in the bedroom. I also tend to know, like, because they come out by item number here, I can look at kind of the start of the pile. It's often nice when you have this, the Joe Fresh pink polka dots. Like, I know that's the start of my pile. So, okay. Back to our PowerPoint here. So the deadline, make sure you get all of your items in and your tags generated by 8 a.m. on April 20th. So printing your tags. So after you get your PDF files, then you go to Staples. So we're going to show you. We've got everything here. All of these guidelines are in the guidelines as well, but we're going to walk you through it as well. So here we're at Staples. Create an account. I think I've already done that. So click on print a document. You can choose, I don't think it really matters, same day or complete solution. If you've got time to do the complete solution, it might be a little bit cheaper. Same day as if you want it that day, but they both can print them. So we're going to say order now. I'm going to select my file. I am going to find my tags. I saved them as something else too. Okay, we're going to do these ones. Okay, so I'm uploading my file. There's something about this PDF password.
Just ignore it.
Just ignore it.
There is no password.
There's no password. Confirm that you own it or you have permission to do it, and then click create. Now on here is where you have all your options that you need to do properly. So say don't reduce it or enlargement.
Right.
So click on none. So your finished size is 8.5 by 11, portrait or landscape. I don't think that one really matters.
It doesn't matter.
None. Print color. You want to print in black and white.
Not rich black and not color.
There's no exception. Paper stock. So there's a drop-down menu here. You want to come down to card stock, and you want white 65-pound index cardstock. Then page setup, single-sided. You want to print them all. You don't need tabs. You don't need binding, stapling, or hole punching. You don't need covers. Now cutting. So it's not, if you click this, like the plain cutting, it doesn't provide you the right options. So you need to do complex cutting if you're going to cut it yourself. And then you can say to crop marks or as cards. I think they tend to figure it out. Just note that Staples changed the price on cutting, and it's $15 to cut. So at least it was the last time I put mine through.
Just go to cart. There you can see it's $15.59.
$15.59 per. So you can see up here the cutting is $14.99. So if you're going to get Staples to cut it, then get them. Then put all of your files. If we had more than one file, you would have seen that we could have created it into one document. So if you are going to pay for them to cut, put it into one document so that you only pay $15 once. Otherwise, if it's multiple documents, they'll charge you $15 per document. So in which case, it's probably cheaper to cut it yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing to note, if Staples is cutting it, they don't care at all about your numbers. So then when you receive it, the numbers are completely out of order. And depending on how many items you have, it may take you 2 hours to resort your tags into the numbers so that they match your bins or your baskets or your piles. So just keep that in mind.
Because you always have the option of cutting them yourself.
Yeah, you can cut them yourself for free. Just time. And then click add to cart. And then once you're here, you can check out, I I'm going to go ahead and say checkout, and then you can double check it. So double check it here. You can review that you've made the right guidelines. I've chosen cutting. I've got my white 65-pound index, single-sided black and white. And then you can proceed and pay. So that is how to go through the staples process.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll come back over here. Again, don't use your regular printing paper. Don't try and print this at home. The problem with printing it at home, just so you're aware, is that the ink tends to smudge, and it doesn't seem to matter what type of printer you have at home or...
And you cannot use a laser printer.
Right.
The scanners won't read it.
It doesn't print the barcodes properly. So that's why. And same with like if you compress the printing size, the scanner can't read the barcodes. So, and it's really all about that great sale that we have, and when it takes forever for something to try and scan, or the cashiers can't scan something, and now somebody's really upset because they really wanted that
item.
pink. Yeah, they really wanted that particular thing, and the cashier's like, well, it's not working, and so we want to make sure. If you do you can pay for Staples to cut your tags. If you're cutting your own tags, make sure you don't cut off the barcode, and cut on the lines.
Yeah,
don't try and make it a smaller tag. Cut on the lines.
Yeah.
So this is like the size of the tag. Don't try and cut, because if you accidentally cut off the barcode, guess what? Now it doesn't scan.
Yeah, and if you leave the lines on the side, it also thinks it's part of the barcode. So try to cut the lines off.
Right.
Like if you cut on the line, that's the best way to do it.
Okay. So tagging your items. Why does it matter if you do it right?
Because you don't want the tags to fall off, and you want people to be able to see them.
Yeah.
So last sale, we had quite a few tags fall off, and I don't think they actually went through the fabric properly. People were just gunning it, and then they weren't actually going all the way through. So as soon as they started unloading them, we had tags on the floor. So just make sure the tags are really in there.
So what to use. Okay, so here is a tagging gun. You can use a tagging gun, or you can use safety pins. Don't use straight pins though, or everybody will end up bleeding all over your items, including yourself. Don't leave holes. It's super easy to leave a hole. I'm going to show you. And so it says pin here on the tags.
Yeah.
That's a good spot to put your tagging gun or your pin. So if I don't care and I just go through and I shove my tagging gun through and I stick the tag in, now when somebody comes along and they pull the tag out, guess what I've just created? A great big hole. So admittedly I could have been more gentle cutting or taking the tag out,
Still leave a
but
hole.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
You leave a hole. So take your tag, and if you have a label, go for the label.
Yeah.
Number one spot, go for the label. Try not to tag where the size is though, because people do want to double check as a seller. Double check.
Yeah.
As a seller or as a buyer, double check.
Both, yeah.
So go through the tag if you can, and that makes a nice tag. If there is no, say there's no label to go through a seam. On a t-shirt, do you want it on the pants too on the left?
On the right.
On the right?
Yeah. So if
Yeah,
you're holding
on the
the
right.
item facing you.
If you're holding the item facing you, here, let's get a shirt.
Try to keep all the tags on the right-hand side.
This is a good example because it doesn't have a label. So on a shirt, it's great to go right in here. So if you look, there's a good seam right on in the armpit.
The other place you can also do it is in this part right here where the stitching is, up at the top, if that doesn't work for some reason.
Right.
Just as long as you don't go through the main
Yeah.
clothing and leave a hole in it. If there's a hole left here, it's not going to affect the use
The
of
buying of it, yeah. So another thing, when you're shopping at the sale, pay attention to where they've put the tags, because it won't get rejected if the tag's in a weird spot, or if the tag's going to leave a hole, but then you'll get it home and you'll go, oh shoot, this person tagged badly.
Yeah.
And now I've got a hole. So, yeah. So if you can aim down there, or look at all the tags I had left over.
And same goes if you have an outfit. If you have a pant, like
Yeah.
especially with pajamas where there's a top and a bottom, tag them to each other, but make sure you do it like this. Or
Yeah.
you can also use safety pins
So-
if you're putting an outfit together.
Yeah. For my outfits, I tend to, like, I'll pin them together and then I'll tag it with a tagging gun.
Yeah.
I don't try and tag them together because the tags, at least my tags, are quite long. So if they're tagged together, then they kind of get all floppy and they don't stay together very well. So that's how to tag. Don't leave holes. One tag per item. So like this shirt now with 2 tags is going to be confusing. They're not going to know if I want to sell it for $5 or $2, and it's going to get rejected. It's a good move, right? Okay, so taping items. So if you have something that you want to tape the tag in a visible area. Ziploc bags, if you want to put socks together. So tape this closed too, right?
Yeah, I would. So nobody opens
So
it up.
nobody opens it and goes, oh look, I've now got 2 pairs of socks. So now we're left at the sale with an empty Ziploc bag.
Yeah, and also just a little tidbit I notice with socks, if you put them in the bag like this, then people can see the soles, because a lot of people think that the soles might be too worn out if they're rolled up and they don't really know what they're buying because
Yep.
they can't open the bag, because you do want to seal up the bag, otherwise people will be opening them up like this at the sale, and who knows if they'll bother to put them back in the right bag.
Yeah.
And then you tape your tag to your bag, but don't put the tape over
I don't know if
top.
they can see it.
Don't put the tape over top of the barcode because it won't scan through the tape.
Yeah. And don't put your tag in the bag because it doesn't
Yeah,
scan
it
through
won't
the bag. So that is why it's really all about ease of scanning
And getting people through the lineups.
and getting people through the lineups for that quality sale. Because if the lineup's 2 hours long, what people do if the lineup is too long, they've gone through the whole sale and then they've got like armfuls of things, and then they see a long lineup at the cashier and they dump it and they walk out the door.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting them through the cashier quick and easy, which requires good scanned items. So attach your tags to your toys, your equipment, your book with clear tape, painter's tape. Make sure the tape's not going to wreck the item,
Yeah.
because otherwise it may not sell. Like Val said, don't tape over the barcode. And then put things together. So shoes, how we attach shoes is a common question.
So a lot of times you can use zip ties, which you can get a bag at the dollar store, or sometimes you can use elastic bands, or you can just use an old shoelace to go through the eyelets of a shoe, or
Just
you want
find
to
a
connect
way.
them though, because you don't want missing shoe.
Yeah,
They need to stay together.
yeah. Don't put them in plastic bags because now they can't really look and they don't sit on the shelf very well.
And also, don't bring shoe boxes. Some people have new shoes and they just put the shoes in the box and the shoes are not attached to one another. We don't have room for boxes, and now your shoes are not attached together, and they might one will get lost.
Right.
I can pretty much guarantee it
Yeah,
with the number of people that go through there. So better to just attach the shoes, leave the box at home. If they're new, just write new on the tag and people can figure it out pretty easily.
yep. And with toys, you can do, like, say you had a little people farm. So you can, like, if you've got the farm and then you've got a bag of the little people and the farm animals, tape the bag to the farm, make sure it's not going to get separated.
Yeah, you really want to kid-proof what you bring in, because there's over 1,000 people that walk through. A lot of them have kids with them. The kids touch everything.
Yeah.
And you just don't want your pieces going missing.
I also say for transport too, right? Like, there's a lot of transport of you taking it out of your house into your car, into the Genesis Center, it getting unpacked there, then it getting put into somebody's wagon or cart or bag, and then to the cashier. Like, you just want to make sure it's going to stay together. So packing up your items, So if you've been around for a long time, you might think, oh, I'll take my bin. No bins. No bins. Bins are bad. So you have a choice of packing your items up in boxes or bags.
And if you do bring boxes, you will not be getting them back.
Right.
We just recycle them all.
So here's our bag. Trusty bag. So what we're going to do is sort everything before you put it in the bag. So I'm going to go through, and don't fold it neatly. We don't care.
Yes, please don't bother folding anything.
Nope, fold it neatly. Well, I'm going to fold it for the sake of our demo. So, but here I've sorted, these are my size 4 pants. So I've sorted them. I've put them in the bag. If I filled up the bag, I'm going to close it up and label it. If I haven't, do I need to put a sign?
No, if you haven't filled it up, move on to the
Move
next
on to the next
size.
Or the next, no, the next.
Or the next item.
The next
so
item.
if I've got size 4 bottoms, size
Now
4
here's my
tops.
size 4 tops. Now if I have size 3 tops, I'm going to stick a piece of paper in here, and I'm going to say
Size 4 for
size
what's
4
underneath.
for what's underneath. Size 4, and then I'm going to put my size 3s on top.
And keep the gender the same, please. So all girls in one, all boys in another.
So girls, size 4.
Because this makes it so much quicker when we're setting up on Friday.
Right.
Because the sorters can just look and say, oh, this goes to the table where the girl size 4 is, instead of having to figure out, well, this piece goes to a size 5 boys and this piece goes to a size 6 girls, and then it takes a lot longer to get everything out.
Right. So, and what will happen is the sorters will take this out and they'll look and they'll go, oh yeah, no, free of stains and clothes onto the stains and holes onto the table, or oh, like this one is kind of
Dirty or
yucky
stained.
and dirty, and it goes in a reject pile. So once our bag is full, or as full as we're going to make it, we're going to close it up. Close it however you want to. Get out.
Do you have, okay.
I have some tape,
So you can use the green painter's tape or blue painter's tape or masking tape.
masking tape. So we're going to write on here.
And really what you need to write is the gender, and whether it's tops or bottoms, or it could be swimsuits, it could be tights, it could be
So we're writing girls.
pretty much whatever,
Girls size 4.
tops. And if you have size 3 and then your piece of paper says size 4 and then you have another pile of size 4, so you could have one thing that says size 3 and then another one that says size 4. So keep the labels in the same order of what's in the bag. So when the
Right.
person gets the bag, they go size 4. Oh, so size 4 will be at the top. And then they know where to bring it when they're sorting it.
Right. And you also know where to take it when you arrive at the Genesis Center. So some other notes, hangers. Hangers are used for jackets, snowsuits, dresses, boys' dress clothes, Halloween costumes if appropriate, maternity, and the other one is sleep sacks and big blankets go on hangers.
And when you come in, I don't know if you have a separate section for this, but when you do bring your stuff in, if you have plastic bags on your clothes that are on hangers, you will need to take them off. So you might want to
think about that.
Think about putting plastic bags on everything, because unless it's hard for you to get it to the Genesis Center, it's just going to come off as soon as you get there.
Right. Hang them so that the question mark is there, so that everything's going to go the same direction is the goal. And then organize your items on the hanger by their size and their items. So your maternity in the appropriate sizes, and then all the various sizes. Put your shoes, boots, and socks together by size in a grocery bag or in a bag. Single items of one size could be left loose. And then, like we said, really sort your items, which just helps the sorters. We don't have a lot of time to put everything out for the sale. So the more you can help us with how organized you are with getting it to the sale, the easier it is at our end to get it set up for you. So when you arrive on Friday, so drop-off is on Friday between 1 and 6 p.m. if you're volunteering, plan to drop off 45 minutes before your shift starts. So if your shift is at 2, plan on being there by 1:15 so that you've got enough time to drop off your items before your shift starts.
And you have to park your vehicle, and that's what takes the time, because on Fridays there is a lot going on at the Genesis Center that has nothing to do with TTMAC. So the parking lot gets quite full, and that's where it's going to take you time, is to drop off your items and go back and park your vehicle and come back in.
Right. If you're not there by 5:30 or by 6, if you're not there by 6, they may prohibit you from selling in future sales. So, and if you need earlier drop off, contact Val. So what you're going to do when you arrive at the Genesis Center is back into the loading dock, and it's fairly easily marked. When you get there, make sure you go into the Genesis Center and not to the other side, which is the library and the high school. So
it's right beside the daycare.
Yeah. And then, and backing in, allows for easier unloading, but it also makes it easier to leave the loading dock because there isn't enough room to turn around there. Then there's going to be a volunteer at the table right in the loading dock. So check in with them, sign your waiver regarding your unsold items, which is asking you if you want to donate them all or if you're going to pick them up. Then unload your items onto a dolly. Admittedly, you may need multiple trips. Take your items into the field house, and then once all your items are in the field house, then you can go back, leave the dolly in the loading dock, go and park your car. And then if you're not volunteering, then you can go home.
No, they have to come back and put all their stuff out.
Oh, right. Sorry. Right.
Yeah.
So go park your car and then come back. And then here we've got the floor plan.
So you can't leave your car in the loading dock because other people need the space. There's only room for 2 vehicles at a time. So that's why we ask that you go park your vehicle and then come back in, and then you'll be bringing all your items.
So
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So what we want you to do is when you come in, here's the exit for the sale. But for the load in, you bring your items through here. And what we want you to do is park all your items into one of these orange lines. So kind of like a parking lot. So just bring your items to here. So, and drop all your stuff in one.
Well, you can take up 2 of the tables and just put all, keep your stuff in one line, so you can take up all the tabletop and the floor and whatever space is there.
The tables just might not be there.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be there.
Okay. So put your stuff together.
Yeah.
And then once you've come back from parking your car, what you need to do is sort your items into the appropriate section. So say you've got boxes that are size 3 girls. You're going to walk them up to the size 3 girls tables and just put them on the floor
at the end
there at the end of the table. So don't unpack your stuff. You are not allowed to unpack your own items onto the tables.
And there will be coat racks at the front. So if you have anything on hangers, just hang them on the racks and take the plastic bags off if you have anything in a plastic bag. And just leave them there, hanging on the coat racks. Don't put them out onto the floor.
Right. I think we covered it. Now, once everything is out, once you've put all of your items out, if you're not volunteering, say thank you, say have a good night, everybody, be kind, and you can leave.
Yeah.
If you are volunteering, now go and sign in for your volunteer shift. For pickup afterwards, pickup is on Saturday between 5 and 5:30 only. So if you don't show up to pick up your items and you haven't made prior arrangements, TTMAC is going to take 50% commission from your sales, and your unsold items will be donated. You must sign in before you come in to get your items. Can you come early? Can you help? No.
No, thank you.
Just no, thank you. They have a big system of how they're sorting the items, and so for people to come in and you have to try and tell
Explain how to
them
do
what's
it.
going on. It's just easier to say no thank you. So just come between 5 and 5:30. Don't forget to bring your own bags or bins or boxes to collect your items. If you brought them in bags or boxes, they're gone. So bring new bags or boxes to collect your items. Or if you're like me, that's where my bins come back into play, and I throw everything back in a bin and I go and shove it in my garage until the next sale.
And also, when you do come in after you've signed in, there'll be a couple of tables at the front with all the items that have lost their tags. So if you want to check to see if any of them are yours, and also the rejects will all be at the front.
Right. So, and if you have a lot of rejects, then for the next sale, do a better job of cleaning them.
And you have to sign out. If you don't sign out, you will not get your commission check.
Right. So pick up instructions. So all of your items are going to be on a table with your seller number. So I'm seller 11, so I would go to the table with a number 11 on it. You go through all of your items. So make sure that you only are taking your stuff home, because the last thing that you want to do is get home and be like, oh, look, here's something from number 35, and I bet they wish they had this. And now you're going to try and coordinate with them. It's a pain in the butt. So make sure that you only have your items. Double check, again, you've got your items, and again, go and check the rejected and the orphaned items. Especially if you're the type of person that wants to like go back and cross-examine all your sales and make sure you've got everything accounted for, then you want to make sure you've checked that rejected and orphaned items. And to be fair, there is occasionally stuff that goes missing or stuff that gets stolen, and we just do our best in that area.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going through and you want to donate and you haven't, when you came, you said, oh, I don't want anything back. I'm going to donate it all. I'm not coming to pick my stuff up. That's fine. Or if you're now picking up your items and you see things of, oh, you know what, I don't want to donate this item now. If you have one or more items, you may leave it on a donation table, and they're going to be picked up at 5:30, and the items are going to be donated to TTMAC and cerebral palsy. So we get too many items donated for TTMAC to manage it all, so cerebral palsy is going to benefit from some of them, which is great. And you may find like me where I've gone through and I'm on my, 5th sale. My 3 to 6 stuff has not sold. I don't want to sell it for any less than I've got it down for. Like they're $1 already. I might just choose to donate it. So, or you can keep it and try and sell it at a future sale.
Yeah.
So before you leave, again, check the rejected and orphan table. And part that is really just because when you get home and you go, well, where's the pink polka dotted pantsuit? It didn't sell and I don't have it. If it was on a reject or orphan table, now it's been donated, we can't find it for you. So, and sign your waiver to confirm you've got everything and you're all done. So just some volunteer information. When you arrive for your volunteer shift, make sure you come 45 minutes early to drop off your stuff if you're volunteering on Friday. Food is only provided for the warriors. So keep that in mind. If you're doing a 4-hour shift, there's no food for you. You should be able to survive. If you need a snack, bring your own snack. And the food provided for the warriors, if you are a warrior, check to see what's provided, because if you've got special dietary requirements, you may need to bring your own food. Always sign in at the seller station, which is basically the penalty box or the player's box in the field house. What to wear? Comfortable shoes. Comfortable shoes.
You will walk a lot.
Yeah. Water bottles are permitted in the other player's box.
The
volunteer box, so you can bring a water bottle. Make sure it closes.
Yeah.
And
no, there is no food or drink allowed in the field house at all. So even when you're doing your shift, you can't have the water bottle with you. You have to come into the player's box and take a sip. So just don't bring any food. And that applies both Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. Don't bring your valuables with you. We don't have any place to lock them up. And that applies to warriors and sales team and board and volunteers. So just keep your valuables in your car or at home. Yeah. At home is probably better. We don't want to be responsible for anything that happens in the parking lot. Shopping, when you get to shop, is determined by your volunteer shift. So just refer back to that. We're not going to go over it in here because it's going to change for everybody.
But please don't shop while you're on your volunteer shift, because we actually need your help, especially during the sale, to keep an eye out for the public that might not be so honest. If your head's down looking through clothes, you're not going to notice what they might be doing.
Right. And then make sure you sign out at the end of your volunteer shift. Doesn't matter what volunteer shift you have. If you're a warrior, 4-hour volunteer on Friday or Saturday, make sure you sign out. Doesn't matter when we bring our stuff in.
This is the biggest misconception, whatever you want to call it. Everybody thinks that they're going to wait. They're going to show up for their Friday shift right when it starts, so they don't have enough time to bring their stuff in. Then they're going to wait till 5 or 6 o'clock when it slows down a bit, and they're going to say, oh, can I bring my stuff in? I haven't brought it in yet. And that just really makes it take longer to get everything set up. Like last time we were done by 7 o'clock. Like we used to be done by 10. We've really, really improved the efficiency of setting up. And that means we get to shop earlier and we get to go home earlier because we have to be back the next day early. So thinking that I'll wait till the end of my shift to bring my stuff in because I want it on top, the top layer, so it gets sold, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like we've actually, if you want to say, done the science on this, and we've watched people shop and we've seen what sells and what doesn't. It's completely random. People buy what they're looking for and they look for what they want. So if your stuff is on the top or the bottom, it doesn't make a difference. So please bring your stuff in before your shift so that everything can run smoothly, and just we want to get out of there early on Friday night.
Yeah. And you said
it all gets mixed up in about 10 seconds after the doors open anyways, so your stuff doesn't stay on the top for very long.
Yeah. And people who've been doing the sales for years know that it doesn't matter whether their stuff was there first or last. They know that it sells. So just so you know, the volunteering setup, the sales team arrives first, and they coordinate and make sure all the tables are in the right spot. The weekend warriors are then assigned sections, and they start coordinating their section. So like they'll set up the bookcases if they're in charge of books, or the shoes. And then the 4-hour volunteers come and they help lay it out. They check all the items and they sort all the items from the sellers.
And please also remember that when we do setup now, we no longer fold anything. Everything gets laid out flat. Do not fold the clothing, please.
So sales team are in red aprons. So if you see someone in a red apron, they are on the sales team. And warriors are in blue apron. So like I said, they've been assigned a section, so they might be in charge of shoes or toys, large equipment, etc. So if you are done a particular task and you're standing around and you need something to do, ask a warrior where to go, what to do. Ask them if you're unsure of something. Ask them if you need help. They're really your main contact.
And if they can't help you, feel free to contact a red apron.
Yeah. So set up volunteers. If you're doing a 4-hour shift on Friday to set up the sale, when you arrive and you sign in, the sales team person in the sign-in section will assign you to a section. They'll say, okay, you are going to go and help with toys, or you are going to go and help with girls 6 to 10. And then once you get there, here are all the boxes that people have dropped off. So don't unload your own box. Save it for somebody else. Take it out. So you've got your bag. Here's our bag or our box. You take it out. Check that it's right. Pull it out. Check it. Again, stains and holes. This one's stained. It's going to get rejected, but we'll just pretend.
And there'll be laundry baskets around, and I think it's the blue ones.
The blue ones.
That if you have the rejects, or you find something that doesn't have a tag on it, we can't sell it, so you just throw them in the laundry baskets.
Yeah.
And the laundry baskets, someone will come around and empty them out.
So, and if you're looking at something and you're like, oh, I'm really not too sure about this, ask another volunteer. So, and then if the two of you can't decide, put it in the blue bin. or you can take it to the penalty box and talk to a sales team member or a warrior and say, what do you think? Because sometimes there are things that you're like, not too sure about this. So, but for the most part, it's pretty easy. If you're volunteering on Saturday during the sale, again, you come into the field house to the seller station. You'll be assigned a role when you arrive. There are positions that are cashier helpers, and they really help the cashiers. They lay items out flat. Remind all the buyers that they need cash, because it would be helpful if we kind of stop them then, as opposed to when we've rung everything through and go, okay, how much cash do you have? And they go, oh, I didn't know I needed cash.
And there's two bank machines at the Genesis Center, so if they don't have cash, they can go to the bank machine and get some.
And then you help them move their items to the next available cashier. Another position during the sale are runners. So they resort all the stuff that gets left behind on the middle tables and put it back where it belongs, and they help keep the sections tidy and neat.
And so a little word to that. So there's going to be those blue laundry baskets again on the round tables, and that's where sellers who are going through deciding, do I really want to buy this? If they decide no, it'll get put in that blue basket. So you grab the blue basket and then take the items and just put them on the correct table. So if it's like boys size 5, just put it on you don't have to worry about where it's going as long as it's on the right table. Like girls size 2, boys size 5, just to get it back out there, because those blue baskets fill up quite quickly, and we always seem to be short of people putting the stuff back out. But the sooner it gets back out, the more chance it has of selling,
right? Instead
of sitting in a basket during the sale.
Yeah. So if the sale is still happening and you're volunteering on the sale, don't start sorting for after the sale while there are shoppers still around.
Yeah, and don't fold the items. If you want to start sorting when there's nobody at that table, lay them flat if you want to start grouping things. Yeah. Don't pile them high, all folded up, because then they just look like they're not for sale anymore.
Yeah, and make sure you sign out. And if your shift ends at 1:30 at the end of the sale, then leave. Don't try and be involved in the sorting. It's easiest if your shift is over. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see you again at 5:00 when everything is sorted out. Go and enjoy a little break, because you've just worked 4 long hours. 4.5 long hours. So if you are helping after the sale, if you're a volunteer for after the sale, wait for instructions. One of the biggest things in this area is where people decide that they want to do their own thing. So wait for instructions. Don't start moving anything around. The sales team and the warriors are going to be in charge of kind of clearing the tables a little bit to show seller numbers on the table. The first goal is to move everything from the non-close side. So don't start moving the clothes around until all the tables are clear to have a place to put the clothes. So when you're doing the non-close side, you're going to say pick up a toy. It says seller 11. You go and put it on seller 11's table. And then once all the non-close are done, everybody's going to meet back at the seller station and wait for instructions. But again, help each other. If you started in toys and you're done all the toys, move on to the next non-close area that needs help.
So there's going to be books, toys, shoes, footwear, swimwear, hats, accessories, and the toys. So the whole right side of that field house, all those tables need to be cleared. So just because you finish one thing, you can't start with the clothing and then while people are still working on the hard goods, because it just gets really confusing. It works much better if we all are doing the same thing at the same time. It goes much faster.
Right. And then you'll start on the clothes. So, and keep doing the clothes and the clothes tables until they are all done.
But come back to the seller station when you're done, because some people think that just because they're done their little area, they're going to move on. We're going to all do the same thing at the same time. So once
if you're done,
all the clothes are done.
Yeah.
Come back to the seller station and wait for instructions. It's not a race. It's better to be more accurate as to people getting their own stuff back instead of getting somebody else's things back. So don't think of it as a race. You're there till 6 o'clock. That's the shift you signed up for. So trying to rush through it and thinking you're going to leave at 5, it's not going to happen that way, because we need your help until everything is done.
Right. So, and how we've done the close before is I've found a group of 4 people, so myself and 3 other people. We get to a big table, a table piled high. We'll sort it by 50, so seller 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 and over. And you might need to adjust that based on like the seller numbers, because you might have more than 200 sellers in the database now. So sort them and then sort them by 50s, so that, and you'll find, in that particular size, seller 82 has a lot of things. If I was in the sale right now, you'd find a lot of my stuff is size 4. So you'd find like, oh, here's 11 again, here's 11 again, here's 11 again. So we found that worked well to kind of tackle the table as a team. The other thing that can help at the beginning of that process, if, say, I'm seller 11 and I know a lot of my stuff is size 4, if I go to the size 4 table, just gather up my things, then I can help kind of clear that area out, because I know what my stuff looks like. But double check it too, because
sometimes there are identical pieces of clothing, and one's yours and one's somebody else's.
Yeah, I'm
it's
thinking,
happened.
I just bought a bunch of stuff at Costco. If you're buying the Costco sets, there could be 5 sets of Costco sets there. So after all the clothes are done, then you move on to the hangers. We have to do the hangers last, because if the hangers go on the table, the stuff on the hangers goes on the tables, and then you try and put anything onto that pile of hangers, it all falls onto the floor. So that's why hangers are done last. So there's a method and a reason to our madness, and the reason why we are pretty picky about how things are done.
Nobody wants their stuff on the floor, and they don't want to bring it home dirty or have somebody step on it.
Right.
And between each thing, though, please come back to the seller station. We don't want to have people bringing the clothes, stuff on hangers over if there's still people sorting the stuff on the tables. We got to get those tables clear first.
A lot of tables.
Yeah.
And you can always jump in and help other people.
Yeah, get it done quicker.
So, and then after it's all done, after you've all met at the seller station, when the sales team gives the go-ahead, then you can go and pack up your things. But wait until the sales team is like, yeah, we're good. Because there may be other areas that really need a lot of help.
Yeah.
So to receive your money, the sale amounts will show up on the My Consignment Manager by the following weekend. And that amount is your gross sale. So your commission is deducted from your gross sale.
So if it says $800, that's what you made total. And then you have to take off, if you were regular 4.5 hours, 19%. So you take that 19% off of the 800. That's what you'll get.
And checks will be mailed. You can either pick them up at the office, and you'll be informed as to what the window is to pick them up. You'll have to check office hours and if there's a meeting that's related to it. Or they're mailed out at a later date, which is usually like 3 weeks after the sale.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important that your address was correct at the very beginning, because that's where it gets mailed to.
Because if your check goes out to the wrong address or has the wrong name, a lot of people have different names when they sign up and a different name that they go by. And if it causes TTMAC to have to reissue a check, they have to pay for that, and they have to pay for additional postage, and so they will take that out of your commission. So best to just have the right address, the right name, and you'll get your check on time.
Right. Oh, what if you still have a question? So Facebook is a good place to ask questions. I'm on there, Val's on there, the rest of the sales team are all on Facebook, and we can answer questions, but we recognize not everybody is on Facebook. But good if you have an easy question: how do you sort your items? Where does this go? What category does it go into? Feel free to just shoot a quick message on Facebook if you have that ability. Otherwise, you can email the sale coordinator, which goes to Val, and she can reply. And we will provide you a contact number in the final instruction email that goes out to sellers in case you need to reach somebody urgently the day of the sale. And that would be, I'm in the hospital, I can't come and get my items. It
Yeah.
will not be a,
How do I do this?
how do I do this? Or I'm lost. Now, we want to make sure that you watch this webinar. We've obviously put our time into doing it. We want to make sure that you've watched it. There's a lot of information in here. So what we want you to do is email one thing that you learned from this webinar to Val at sale coordinator at ttmac.org. And if you don't, what happens? If you don't, Val will hunt you down. That's not really true.
There are consequences.
There will be consequences if you don't watch it. And really, it's all about, we just thank you for taking the time to A, watch this, B, help us make it the best sale ever. Make sure you help promote it too.
Yeah.
Like share it,
Sure.
tell your friends, tell your networks, tell your daycares, tell your schools, tell as many people as you can about the sale. And yeah, make sure you put your great items in, that they're priced well.
Yeah, and
have fun.
Shop well too. You'll get
Shop
a lot of good
well.
deals out of it as well.
Yes. So thank you. Thanks, Val, for
Yeah.
co-hosting the webinar with me.
Anytime.
And we'll see you all soon.
Okay.